Hello.
What's up?
Again? Hey, we're back with another episode of Beers and Budgeting, and this time we are going over May's budget. I'm so excited about this one because I have actually not seen the total numbers of how much we brought in and how much we spent, but this is a big month. So grab a beer, stick around, and come join us. Hey guys, welcome back to the Debt Free Millennials channel. I'm your host, Justine. This is my husband, Kyle.
What's up?
Hi. Every single month we go over our real income and expenses, and thank you so much to Taylor Brands for sponsoring this video. Taylor Brands is the ultimate business builder to help you with all things legalizing your business and transforming it into a legitimate company that you can be proud of, but more on that later. We're going to be talking about our first budget in Kansas City, living in the great state of Kansas. But first, is it beer 30?
It is.
Okay.
Yay! And I have it in a Kansas City Chiefs glass appropriately since we're in Kansas City. And again, same as last month, Nico Modelo was on tap downstairs. I'm not going to fight that one. So, cheers.
Cheers. We're very happy to be house setting for some of my family members right now. It's been super helpful.
Huge blessing.
I honestly feel a little bit like that gypsy lifestyle where you're just kind of moving around. Nomad lifestyle, I think is the better term. Nomadic lifestyle where we're just moving from one house to another.
Everything's in a suitcase or box somewhere or something.
Or a laundry basket.
Yeah, I'm basically doing laundry every Saturday and wearing the same 5 clothes, 5 shirts, calling it good.
Yeah.
I'm so curious to see what May is going to look like for our budget, because all of the expenses of moving out of LA, we paid for out of pocket, storage unit, that's a whole trippy story. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we've been here a month now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just over a month. So, well, for you, a month. It's been kind of this still trying to get settled because we've been house hunting all the month of May.
Yeah, we started house hunting before we even got out of LA.
Yeah, and so that in and of itself has just been kind of an exhausting process. And I got to a point, even just like 3 weeks into it, I'm like, I'm kind of over this. It's very exhausting. But let's get into the budget so that we can see, and then we can kind of talk about housing stuff too. Here we go.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I said I didn't look at any of the numbers.
I don't believe you for a second. So we planned on bringing in 11,000. We brought in 20,000?
Yeah.
Not a chance. Don't believe us for a second.
Okay. Here's what happened. You had 5 paychecks in the month because of May because there were 5 Thursdays. Kyle gets paid every Thursday. I, of course, pay myself. We also had our security deposit come back from our LA apartment.
Man. Yeah.
Which was like
$5,000?
At least $5,000 or $6,000. I want to say it was 6. Yeah.
So a quarter of this is just the security deposit we got back.
Yeah.
But hey,
but it was money that we did not have, and now it's coming back to us, and now I'm going to treat it as income because I treated it as an expense going out.
This is fantastic. I'm blown away.
This is an insane month in every way, shape, or form. Not only was this such a big income month, it was also weird on the expenses and weird just in general with day-to-day life. I am so happy that I have a job where I work for myself and I have the flexibility to change up my work schedule because our childcare has been all over the place.
There's no way we could have done that otherwise. It'd have been wild.
Yeah. So I'm very thankful for the business that I have and being able to work off of my own schedule and really forming a legitimate business, which is why today's sponsor, Taylor Brands, is all about helping you legalize your business, setting up your business formation, and also making it a really incredible brand experience for you. So if you've ever felt a little lost, confused about how to start a business, it can be very overwhelming. You have to think about things like forming a legitimate business for tax purposes, setting up your website, creating a logo, merch, and whatnot. It's just so much to deal with, and luckily Taylor Brands has you covered. Instead of DIYing putting your business together, Taylor Brands can help you form an LLC. So you don't have to piecemeal all these legal documents together, or an attorney, find somebody else to help you notarize your business. You can actually do it all within one seamless platform. Plus, this helps you save time. All of the documents that are required to help you set up that LLC are within the Taylor Brands platform. So all you have to do, log in, go through step by step to get things done. Plus, you can tap into the power of AI by utilizing some of their AI tools to create things like logos and merchandise that you can sell directly on your website. And Taylor Brands can help you navigate trademarks, EINs, business licenses, and more. And for the Debt-Free Millennials community, Taylor Brands is offering 35% off your LLC formation by using the link in the description box below. I think this is a fantastic offer, 35% off for you to make that business a reality, make that legitimate on paper so you can start earning money. Click the link below to learn more and get that 35% off. And thank you so much to Taylor Brands for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into the budget. That we've got some flexibility with my job because yours has not been as flexible.
No.
And trying to house hunt and do all of the things, it's just been
crazy,
chaotic. However, we've got some things going on here.
So we prorated rent for just a couple of days, maybe a week-ish. So that was way cheap. Same with daycare, cell phone, electricity, obviously low. Groceries, holy cow.
Groceries was insane for May. Costco. Oh, we also did a big purchase at Total Wine. We ended up getting my dad a really nice bottle of tequila, which contributed to the whole grocery budget. Price Chopper. Guys, I shop at a Price Chopper now. Price Chopper. I just think that's fun. So $842 was a lot of money. Now keep in mind, we were also shopping for us and my parents and Quinn.
Yeah.
So we were feeding 4 adults.
Well, back up. We're living with her parents while we're in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So we're not in an apartment or anything like that. We are in the attic room, the spare room. Quinn has like her little setup.
Yeah.
It all works out fantastic.
Yes.
And so we're saving. That's why you don't see any additional rent, because they're not charging us rent. And in exchange, we're like, let us help out with groceries, let us buy things, dinners, all that stuff. So we're not going to see much for rent, but we'll probably see big for restaurants, big for groceries, because it's more mouths.
Yeah. So that happened, and I was also thinking, there were a couple of times where my sister came over and we all cooked together and had a barbecue, or my dad's friend who comes over a lot, like we would all kind of chip in and do stuff like that. So, in the end, we still saved a ton of money on some of our other normal fixed expenses like rent and daycare. And we did have some daycare costs because we did get part-time childcare for Quinn, just like 2 days a week, which has been such a blessing while we're still trying to figure out what daycare looks like for us. And what else? Oh, gas. So this was our first full month of driving our own car in Kansas City. I don't know if we mentioned this last time, but we actually had the Subaru trailered out from LA to Kansas City, and it was 2 days shipping.
It's a 30-hour drive, and the dude just drove straight through. He shows up, he's got this thick, like, you know, Slavic or Russian type accent. He's like, car go fast, we get there fast. And it's like, whoa, brother, you can take more than 2 days to get there. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And the reason that we trailered it was the cost was about a break even, because I wasn't going to have a 3-year-old in a car for 30 hours. So we flew Justine and the kid to Kansas City ahead of time. So I could have done it all 30 hours by myself, but no thank you. So by the time I fly a buddy out or a family member out, and then we pay for hotels and you pay for gas and food and the whole thing, I'm like, oh, for a couple $100 more, I can just pay someone to do it, and then I don't have to also take off time from work or anything like that. So it just had a lot of savings there for us. And I think we're going to do a whole moving expenses breakdown on how we found places, how we did all that kind of stuff, all the goods and the bads of it. So we'll be transparent on that as well, because it was a big expense. It was like ended up being close to $15,000. So it is a lot.
It is a lot.
Okay, so the rest of the stuff looks like it's pretty normal. Restaurants, like I said, we're picking up more restaurant bills.
I knew the restaurant bill was going to be, or the restaurant budget was going to be higher. $615, actually, I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought for sure, I was like, this is going to be $1,000 by the end of this month.
Yeah.
So, let me take a look at this. $842, $615, $1458 on food. But again, a lot of these outings, it was because we wanted to treat my parents to a dinner, because they've been,
putting up with us.
Putting us up too. And so this was our way of kind of paying it forward, paying it back. Shopping, fun money, clothing. I spent money on clothes. Also, I did not...
I still have yet to spend any money on clothes this year.
I did not plan this well. Okay, so LA in May and San Diego, it's cold.
May gray, June bloom.
It's, 60s and there's no humidity, and so it's cool. And you're constantly wearing long sleeves and jeans. And when I got here, 75 degrees here feels like
85.
In
California.
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? And so I was like, I need shorts, I need dresses. So because all of our stuff is in storage now, and most of my wardrobe is in a storage unit that is packed to the brim.
Oh yeah, so me and the packers were dropping a shoulder into the boxes to get the door to come down on the storage unit. I'm gonna have a lot of fun opening that one up and seeing what's smashed and what's not.
That's insane.
Yep.
Okay, so I spent some money there. Spent some money on shopping, mainly things like plastic cubbies that we can put underneath beds or inside of closets temporarily at my parents', just so that we're not having our suitcases out on the floor all the time, so we can put our things away. So that was good. A couple of gifts that we purchased. My parents had their wedding anniversary this month. A couple other little things, but this is the moment you've all been waiting for. We're gonna drop it right here. Perhaps this was in the video title and what you were waiting for. What did we do? We spent money from the down payment fund.
Oh gosh, $24,000.
What happened, hon?
I believe we bought a house. What? I'm so excited. It's such a beautiful house.
We bought a house. We bought a house.
And the monthly mortgage is going to be cheaper than our rent in California.
Okay, give us...
I'm not making somebody else rich anymore. This is so great.
Well, we'll be making our mortgage lender a little bit of money.
At the end of the day, everyone
the
makes the
interest rate.
banks rich. The banks always get...
The banks are always getting their share, no matter, well, unless you outright own your house. A bank.
I think that's the only way to get ahead is to own the bank.
Okay. Let's go over this, because $24,000 is what we spent.
Gotta break that down.
We gotta break it down, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. So $10,000 of it was our earnest money that we put towards a house. This was the 5th or 6th offer that we had put in on a house.
I don't remember.
5th or 6th.
The good part is I like this house the best. So.
Well, Naturally, yes.
Earnest money.
Oh,
if you're
okay.
unfamiliar with buying a house
Going back.
and that process, because I didn't know what this was. Earnest money is the amount that you put down saying, we plan to move forward, and if we decide to back out, you keep this amount of money. And that's what it's earnest money. So if you go through the bid process, you go through the loan process, you do the inspection or whatever, and you're like, nope, I'm out, they got to keep that money. Usually it's 1% of the asking price. We did 10,000, which was not 1% of the asking price. I don't know.
It was
a
more
number
than that.
Yeah, it was more than 1%. I don't know why we did more than 1%. I think it's just because the previous contract had that number written down in there.
Yeah. I think our realtor was like, we 10K? We're like, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I wish we would have done less, but I don't plan on walking away from this house.
No.
So
we're
and the nice part about that is that the earnest money goes towards the down payment. So you're not out that money. It's not like you're just giving it to them as a thanks for opening the door kind of fee, which I'm sure will happen someday. Anyways, keep going down the list.
Okay. Going back to the LA, Kansas cross country move, we spent $1,450 on moving the car. So that was the second line item. Oh, back to cross country move. We paid United $10,334 to put our stuff, which was supposed to be on a semi. They tried to shove it into, what was it? 20.
So first off, we paid for them to pack our stuff. And the reason we did that is because we got more time to enjoy LA rather than spending our weekends packing everything ourselves and finding boxes and packing paper and all that. We were like, by the time the hours you spend doing that, you just waste the last month of your time in whatever place you're leaving just to pack. You know, like I want to spend time with my friends and family and doing things that we may not do if we came back to LA for a vacation. So we paid for that, and then we paid for them to move our stuff into a storage unit here in Kansas City because we didn't have a house yet. So that amount cost $10,334.
Yeah. And I did note up here, public storage for the month of May was $104.
So when they loaded everything up finally, they had a 26-foot truck. And they packed it backwards, in my opinion, where they put a lot of odd-shaped things in first and then put the boxes towards the back. It's like, I would have done that backwards. But anyways, when it got to the end, they couldn't close the door to the truck. So what they did is they shoved a bunch of stuff in and they partially closed the door like a third of the way down. They took Quinn's mattress and put it across the middle section and ratchet strapped that to keep the boxes in. And then they took the lift gate and then covered it up with the bottom third. And they're like, it's good enough. Let's go. So they went down the 405 with our stuff hanging out the back like that. And I was like, okay.
I don't think this is, so they ended up switching trucks.
Well, they took it all to, so they didn't show up with a semi, they showed up with a smaller truck. So then they took it to the storage or their warehouse, moved it on to like a 54-foot, 53-foot semi truck or 18-wheeler, and then showed up with only partial load. So our stuff got split into 2 deliveries. And let me tell you, that was chaotic because the second delivery didn't show up for like 2 weeks after the first delivery. And they called me the day before, like, hey, you free tomorrow at 8 o'clock to like open up the storage unit, bro? I'm like, nope, not. You're gonna have to wait till Monday. So it was a little chaotic in that sense, a little I don't know how to say it, uncoordinated.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, all of our stuff is here, supposedly. Haven't gone through every single box. Don't know what's broke. We've got 90 days to figure that out and get back to them.
And so now that we've purchased this house, or we're in the process of purchasing this house, we have to move the stuff from public storage over to the house, which means we have to hire new movers. So you found a local company called The Dudes.
I know. That was great. I was like,
The Dudes. And
abides.
he's a big Lebowski fan, so
Abides.
it's perfect. So I think the hold charge was $377 because that's what I saw.
So that's you put down 25% to reserve the spot. So the total ended up being, it was like $120 an hour plus a truck fee. They estimated it to be like $1,000 to move everything out of the storage unit and into the house.
Okay, so we got that in the works lined up for the end of this month. And then we had 2 separate transactions. We'll call it $1,100, $1,200 for our inspection of the house.
Yep.
We did add on a mold inspection. That was important to us. That was not part of their full inspection. I don't know why, but I guess it was just a more detailed mold inspection. So we did that, radon, sewer, yeah, all the big components of a house, like the HVAC, water heater, roof, kind of some structural things. So we paid for that. We also went through Navy Fed for our mortgage. We paid an appraisal fee and this equity fee.
Let me tell you how much I hate appraisal fees. What a joke.
Get on a soapbox.
What a joke. Banks of an appraisal fee? Are you kidding me? The appraisal is for the bank to protect itself. So I'm paying the bank to protect itself? That should come out of your own pocket. Like, how much money are you going to make on this mortgage over the 30 years? And then you're going to charge me an additional $500 for someone to not even show up to the house to look at pictures that I could see on Zillow and then give me an evaluation that I think is terrible? What a joke. What a Ponzi scheme. Like, talk about jobs that could be replaced with AI. Like, that's one right up there that I genuinely think it could be, going through all of the market, all of the different factors, and just spit out a number or a range very quickly. Yeah. Anyways, rant over.
So we paid for the $575 appraisal fee. I think we're going to do a separate video on the home buying process and the steps we personally took to purchase our first home. That way we can walk you through what that looks like in 2024. So you know, oh yes, this is kind of what to look out for. These are the types of fees, because remember, it's not just the down payment. We did the earnest money, that does go towards the down payment, but the stuff we paid for, the inspection, the appraisal, you know, this equity fee, whatever the heck that is, that's money we don't get back. So that's just sunk costs into this house.
We haven't got to closing costs yet. We'll do that in June. That'll be another one that I will rant about a lot.
So we did shop around for rates. We got rates from 2 banks, well, including Navy Fed, 2 banks plus a mortgage broker who gave us a bunch of options. And ultimately we went with Navy Fed because they were offering a flat 7% with options to buy down the interest rate if you wanted to, but if you didn't, if you just wanted to put 20% down, 7% was the flat rate. So we kind of went back and forth with the numbers because you guys know we have a lot of money built up for the down payment. We were thinking, oh, well, if we put 20% down, even though we have quite a bit more than that, we could actually free up some money to put towards things that we want to do to improve the house, such as we want to do furniture, we want to redo the kitchen a little bit. So what did we end up purchasing our home for? What was the cost?
$640,000.
And then let's go kind of quickly through the details. So it's just over 4,000 square feet. It's massive. We may have overcompensated a little bit.
Yeah, we did. We went from 1,000 square feet.
I mean, come on. The LA apartment was bigger than 1,000.
1,400. Oops. I mean, that extra 400 square feet, let me tell you how big of a life change that is.
2-bed, 2-bath apartment to how many bedrooms is this? 5. It's 5 bedrooms, and I want to say it's 5 bathrooms. Is that right? Or 4 bath?
4.5.
Something ridiculous. We're going to have to hire a house cleaner. Like, when we saw it and we saw the potential for what this could look like for our family and for
the neighborhood
and for us working from home, that was like a huge thing. Is just trying to find 2 office spaces.
That's really the main reason why we needed a house that large. We did, if we both were going to offices, if we're both doing the corporate thing and all that stuff, we don't need offices, and that makes the house a lot smaller. But she needs a separate space. I need a separate space. Like, kid, you know, people come to visit, and then by the time you add all that up, it's like well, I guess I need a fair amount of rooms, because there's a lot of houses that have those offices where they're just kind of open, and it's like, well, that's not going to work if I got a sick kid at home, you know, trying to watch TV and I'm trying to be on a call. Like, that's not going to work. So we needed legitimate rooms to have offices, and then we're both on calls and meetings, and it's like, so we can't share a room. So that's really the reason, and that's what we justified to ourselves why we needed a house that big. So you can always make it work in other ways. But either way, it's a fantastic house. It's a 30-year house. It could be the last house we ever live in, for all I know, because it's just that awesome.
Who knows? Yeah, the neighborhood is awesome. It's got amenities that Kyle and I have definitely gotten used to over the years being in California and living in shared communities that have pools and, you know, gym equipment and all that stuff. So this neighborhood has an HOA of $780 for the year. For the year. So it's like $70 a month.
In San Diego, the HOA for our unit, we didn't pay it. It was integrated into our rent. But it was $780 a month to live in a high rise in downtown San Diego as an HOA.
Yeah. So this HOA takes care of trash and recycling. It has a community pool, park, tennis court, pickleball court. It has a little area where you can play basketball. And then they do a bunch of social things throughout the year, such as like a 4th of July party. They do kids' Easter egg hunt, all the stuff that we were already used to living in LA and San Diego. So that really sold it to us, because we went over to the community pool and we ran into somebody and I was like, hey, do you live here? He said, well, yes, I do. And I said, we have questions. We're looking to buy a home here. And he was like, oh, it's so great. You know, lived here 16 years, all this stuff. So he was telling us all this, and we wouldn't have really known that because it wasn't disclosed to us when
it wasn't in the cell. Like,
it wasn't in the description.
It wasn't included in the pictures. It wasn't included in anything. We had to like look it up and kind of get on Google Maps.
That's true.
And be like, oh, look at this pool over here next to this parking lot in the neighborhood. And it's like, oh yeah, this is included.
Yeah.
So
super close to the highway. It's
but not close enough you can hear it.
Yeah.
So
it's in an area that we were not primarily looking at in Kansas City, but it is 17 minutes to my parents' house.
The backyard has turf, just like they do in Southern California.
The backyard is very San Diego.
I love it.
Which we love.
Yeah.
There's a little patch of turf. There's a retaining wall. Which so many homes in San Diego have retaining walls because those houses are built up in big hills. Yeah. So, and there were the plant life that the previous owners had, like a lot of succulents and
it was just like, wow.
So we're like, oh my gosh, it's like San Diego in our backyard again. So we're very, very excited. We close.
If you can't tell, we are excited.
I know, I feel like we're rambling. When do we close?
We close on the 20th of June.
June 20th. Hopefully you're seeing this video before that.
Crossing our fingers that nothing goes south between now and then.
Yes, because there were a couple of things that we've been kind of going back and forth on with the sellers in terms of getting some repairs completed before we close.
Yep.
And I think they've definitely been working with us on that.
Yeah.
It's not like...
And it's normal wear and tear of the house. It's not like, you know, a tree fell through the roof and they left it there for 5 years. It's genuine, just normal house maintenance things that it's like, okay, can we get this done before we move in? Because that'd be... Anyways, that's a little... so all the money we've saved, we're finally dropping it out. And it's like, so what do we have left after the 24,000? Scroll back down. Let's see this. Okay, so we still got 183,000 left. And
but we gotta
plus 13 at the top because we're definitely throwing everything we have left over this month towards.
I agree. We're doing 128 down on this house. So if I was to just even kind of take a look at what we have left over, that still leaves about 56K to do some things that we want to do, because the kitchen is not open to the main living space. It kind of has this half wall, and we want to tear that down and make that into a whole kitchen island for a more open concept feel. So we've already talked to 2 different contractors and asked them to give us estimates on that and see if that's something we can do right away before we really truly move in.
Avoid the demo process, avoid the dust, avoid the chaos of all that.
So yeah.
It's a small project. They said they can get it done in 2 weeks. So it's not like we're like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like they're not gutting the whole thing down to the studs and starting over brand new. It's really kind of just new countertops and removing a wall. That's
the main thing.
Yeah, it's not a huge thing. We're not spending all $56,000 on a new kitchen.
No.
We got excited. We need to get back on track. Quinn's college fund.
You guys still interested in that?
Yeah.
$9,500, and the vacation fund has $5,000 inside of it currently. And we kind of have to talk about our travel schedule as we look at the last half of the year. So we were kind of talking loosely about that earlier today, going back out to San Diego to visit some friends for boat day.
Boat day.
We've definitely talked about boat day before. And then my sister is currently living in Spain, and we've talked about going to visit her in Spain. Those are, well, San Diego is not as big of an expense because we have friends that we could stay with, all that stuff. But Spain, and we're trying to do all the house stuff.
We got to actually figure out how expensive that would be.
Yeah, and what our timeline looks like.
Yep.
So, okay.
Do you want my Robinhood?
Rent, 8.5%.
Wow.
It's actually less than that because I still got to allocate the rest of this. So if I do the 13, what was it? 13,302.
30272. Oh gosh.
68% is going towards just the purchase of our first home. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild. Oh yeah, that really helps us out, because then if I do the 128 out, then we have close to 70 actually to put stuff towards. I mean,
we got to figure that out. We're gonna get through closing costs. We're gonna get through the remodel. We got to buy, like, we don't have a dining room table. We got to buy our dining room table, basically. Like, we got to buy some legit furniture.
we got
And then we'll see what's left, and we'll probably put that back into the mortgage of some kind, or we'll figure that out later. Future us
problems. Yeah, it's kind of one step at a time.
But we're not super celebrating yet. I'm not celebrating anything really until
we have the keys.
The keys are in my hand.
But to get to this step, we've never gotten this far.
I know.
We've never, well, I shouldn't say never. We did get an offer accepted on the first house that we virtually looked at.
Oh, yeah.
But we ultimately backed out of that one because it just wasn't the right floor plan. And now we're like, oh my gosh, I cried when our realtor called us. She's like, you got it. It's like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. House is on the market for 3 days.
Yeah, we didn't mention that.
It came on the market on a Tuesday. And
we saw it Friday.
Memorial Day weekend, and yeah, they were like, let's do this.
We saw it Friday afternoon. We put the offer in on Saturday, and it was accepted Saturday. Memorial Day weekend, which I think was smart for us to do. We were talking with our realtor of like, what do you think sold it? And the sellers are actually moving to South Carolina, which is so funny because it's like, you know, we are moving from the West Coast, coming back to the Midwest, and then these folks are going from Midwest, going to East Coast. So kind of going full circle.
Yeah.
But they seem like a really lovely couple and have a young kid about Quinn's age, I think. So it's like, oh man, I feel like we could be friends with them.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways.
All that to be said, this was such a wild month. It's only going to get crazier as we figure out home furnishings and how to take care of this massive property, our first time owning a home, and really like calling it ours and making some memories inside of this home. Thank you so much to Taylor Brands for sponsoring this video.
Cheers to you guys.
If you are interested in taking your business idea and really transforming it into a legitimate business, remember you can click on the link below to get 35% off your LLC formation using the link below and make that business legit. All good. Thank you so much to Taylor Brands for sponsoring. Thanks guys for being here and being part of this wild journey. There's going to be a whole video outlining every single step we took, including the costs that we paid in order to get into our first home in 2024 in this climate with the 7% interest rate and all that stuff. So be on the lookout for that.
Here, here.
Otherwise, cheers.